Hi, Dr. Nick. Right, your last tweet, in no particular order. Right, why no simple verbal consent there and then? The GMC guidelines are there for a reason, to stop women being railroaded into decisions. Also, when you've just been told the high possibility of cancer, you're non-compos mentis in that particular moment, and NHS improvements, formerly NHS resolutions, I wish they wouldn't keep changing the names, agrees on that, and I'm sure you can get independent advice on that. And there's a good article, Conversations on Consent, but I bet you a tenner that if someone was to take litigation against you, there is no way they would consider that consent on the day or at that particular moment to be legal. There's no way. You simply hadn't had time to give all the facts or time to understand them. There's no way. Why simple verbal? Well, it's written's there to protect you both ways, not just the patient but for you as well. And you're meant to give them something so they can walk away and say, this is what I've agreed to. I know from experience my wife forgot several things that were said to her during an appointment, and I was listening intently, and secondly I did record it, so it was burned in my I could look back on it. Right, alternatives. Right, I know a lot of this is out of your hands, but at the end of the day, a GA or paracetamol, nothing in between, is not okay. That's not. You can have this with it over the counter, but you can have that's for many women. For my wife, it wasn't an issue having a GA. However, I've talked to quite a few women, and they really don't want a GA. And having talked to anaesthetists, I can't believe how keen they are to do regional or the spinals. The sedation, I know you said on sedation, but I have heard good results with difactic, and if the NSAID issues tramadol, it's like, tramadol, but no, let's go up. It's 30 milligrams or 50 milligrams of tramadol is not the end of the world. They're talking out the backsides when there's such a denial of opioids or any pain relief. And locals, and I know why they've been avoiding locals, because we've read several articles, because they increase vasculovagal attacks. So they're desperate not to do it, because the research we've seen, vagiscopic makes very little difference. And the alternatives we've seen, like propofol, mesalazine, the difentanil, and a list of other stuff. There's plenty. I know you haven't got necessarily access to them. Gas and air, that's one that definitely should be on hand and set up to be reasonable strength. Because I heard one woman's testimony recently said, surely I wouldn't need a GA because they wouldn't be doing it without paracetamol. Well, she had a horrific time. She had an absolutely horrific time with it. And the thing is, this 3 out of 4. Well, the problem is, if you're talking postmenopausal women, it's probably closer to 50%. We get the average. The study done in Cairo and Canada, and the other studies in the UK show around it's more like 33-35%. Then for the fact that the postmenopausal, then the fact that it's possibly operative as well. I'll just remove this polyp while I'm here or whatever. It's probably closer to 50%. And the thing is, you're saying, well, 3 out of 4 women are finding a benefit. No. It's most women find it painful. But the thing is, it's not okay to justify hurting that person just because some find it okay. It is morally, there's right. I have heard women say this, and I've seen it said that I wouldn't return even if it was cancer. And about this, she keeps saying they don't want to come back for multiple appointments. Well, my wife said she didn't want to do it on the day, and I've never seen anyone say about these one-stop. I find it easy and convenient. I do admittedly, the circles I run in are far more likely to say no, I didn't want to do things in one appointment or on the day. So I'm not saying it never happens that many women don't want to go back for multiple appointments, but it's over-exaggerated, greatly over-exaggerated. And I did see one woman's story on the open forum on Facebook say, and she come out with all the buzzwords, I'm really glad that I wanted to know I wanted to know, not there and then, but I wanted to know if I got cancer or not. I wanted to get it out of the way. And then she come out with all the buzzwords. So they weren't her words, they were what she was told that she should be thinking. And then at the end of it, she said, but I'd be really hesitant to do it again. So this is what happens, is that this issue of pain, if you're not taking a vast pain score and you're not stopping at an appropriate pain level, you will put women off from seeking further tests, not just hysteroscopies. I've heard of cases even smear tests, or just going to the doctors with any issue at all. Don't kid yourselves, it puts women off to the point where it's not worth. Everything in medicine is a risk-benefit analysis. Why you don't do smear tests below 25. You don't do mammograms typically till 50. Everything's a risk-benefit analysis, and if anyone actually sat down and did the figures, they'd find that it's not safer. And that's the issue. And I know, again, you have no control over a lot of this, but it needs to stop being called best practice. This is not best practice. This is economic practice. This is necessity practice. But doing it with paracetamol is not best practice. There are few women, when you screen them out, that are suitable candidates for nothing. But they are, when you've done and said all, they are very few. Doing it with nothing, it's not best practice. And if all the people that are going to stick their head up above the parapet and say, this is not working, this is not okay, this is counterproductive, even though some women get away with it, because tolerated just means endured. And well tolerated, well, how many times have I heard stories of them saying, it said on the GP note, this is well tolerated. And they may say to you, oh, thanks, oh, I'm glad, no, that wasn't too bad. Well, actually, if you followed them up 3 months, 6 months later, you'd find quite often those that you think are well tolerated it well, haven't. What am I doing? Right, blind biopsies. Right, I know NICE guidelines come out with some utter crap. I mean, hysteroscopies for fibroids. What? But blind, you say you're not looking for cancer, but directed biopsies are more accurate. You can't get around that. There's enough evidence out there. Directed biopsies are more accurate. And like you say, something written for your endometrial biopsies. Now, on a majority, I do hear that it's painful but that quick, so it was okay. But I do know women with post-traumatic stress syndrome from it. Genuine, medically diagnosed, not just, oh, they had PTSD. No, genuine PTSD from endometrial biopsy. So it shouldn't be taken lightly. Now, I'm a bit more on the fence with this one. You say you don't do it unless it's necessary. The problem is, say the ultrasound's clear, but they're having fast they're having painful periods, not necessarily AV, but painful, like in the case of my wife, with a VAS score of 9, at the end of the day, some investigations need to be done, and at the end of the day, it is a very good test. Just needs some sort of pain relief. So, plus I've been told that ultrasounds miss 50% of lesions. Now, especially if they've had a C-section, that's quite a possibility that these, and I'm sure there must be a list of other things that aren't the C word that could be causing grief. So I do get the aspect of these tests are overused. On the other hand, if they've gone to the doctors with something, it's a good diagnosis test. So, right, now I want to quickly touch on the fact that my friend Carrie Ann Clarkey, you said how you came to get involved in our thread on the threads. She said it's a strange thing to buy. Now, the reason it's a strange thing to buy is, one, it was a community hospital, which means if they perforated the room, which they will do on a, I won't say semi-regular basis, but there will be perforated rooms, you have to go and get an ambulance. It's the worst. You want to be connected to a main hospital when you're doing these things. Secondly, the reason it's a strange thing to buy is because although the tariff was reduced slightly in June last year, or roughly last year, there's still plenty of money, and the whole reason it was overpaid was to get these places set up. So basically, they could set this up, borrow the money off their own hospital, and pay it back within a year. Especially if they got the 70% through for the target, then it's just overpaid. They just get, and the reason this clinic give us the EBGBs is because when they're set up, they end up doing overtreatment. They end up, well, the ultrasound's inconclusive. No, it's clear, but they end up being sent just for the sake of it. They end up not being told about alternatives, or there's no need for them, or being lied to about being cramped when it's severely painful. There's probably other stuff I haven't touched on, but this video is long enough as it is. But that's the issue, is that I know it's out of your control, but I didn't realise myself till I looked that there's a plethora of stuff in between a paracetamol and a GA, and it needs someone to actually say, this is not best practice. We're doing this because we've got no money, we no resources, and we've got no anaesthetists. This is not best practice. It's counterproductive. It's actually, in the long run, the extra cost of £90. If someone has PTSD, that's £90 to £110 a session, 6 to 8 sessions. Someone not going back earlier than they should have. We know the extra cost of cancer treatment later on. Dealing with cancer later on is far more expensive than dealing with it earlier on. Plus the small but growing case of litigation. It's counterproductive. Okay, thanks. Bye.